Well, happy Tuesday afternoon, everyone. It is 48 digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four. Now, if you're new to Before the Four, this is where I go on Facebook Live, I go on YouTube Live, and I go on our 48 live stream page, and I discuss some of our top stories before our evening newscasts. And we have quite a bit to jump into today, so without further ado, I think it is time we jump into it. But of course, if you are new to Before the Four, or if you're returning, I want to thank you so much for spending some of your afternoons with me. Anyway, let's jump into it. Starting things off in the Shoals, following up on an absolutely atrocious story that happened in Florence over the weekend. Two elderly women were allegedly assaulted and sodomized by Michael Kirkland, now according to Florence police. Officials say a 79-year-old and her 76-year-old neighbor were both attacked after Kirkland knocked on the 79-year-old's door, requesting a glass of water. Now, in case you missed them, new details have emerged from court documents since we first reported this story. 48's Aria Pons is on your side with what these court records show, and let's take a listen.
Those court records reveal a horrible attack on a 79-year-old woman who opened her door only to help a man get the water he requested. Once inside, police say Michael Kirkland pushed the woman down, struck her in the face, and used a knife to threaten to kill her. Kirkland then is accused of using a cloth belt from a robe to tie her up before sexually assaulting her and putting her in a closet. A second victim, her 76-year-old neighbor, doubling as her caregiver with a key to the home, walked right into the middle of this horror. Records show Kirkland then used a lamp and a glass object to beat her. The beating only stopped when she purposely laid still, playing dead. The brutality of what happened downright shocked neighbors on Howell Street.
I was shocked when I came to know that what exactly happened with those ladies. You know, especially this town is a laid-back town, and there are so many older people that lives around here, especially the retired people. And when something like this happens, you know, people start thinking about safety of their families. So whatever happened was not good.
Court records show the 79-year-old suffered fractures to her face and to her spine. She was airlifted to a hospital in Birmingham for treatment. The 76-year-old woman suffered several cuts to her face, head, and arm. Kirkland, who does have a history of crime, had his bond revoked and is locked up in the Lauderdale County Detention Center. During a bond hearing Monday, Kirkland said in court out loud that he had never beaten anyone. Aria Pons, WAFF 48 News.
And today, Aria is still in Florence, learning more on the latest on this story. She'll be looking more into who these two victims were and what they mean to the community. So make sure you stick around to hear what Aria has learned on this very sad story. And now, let's pull this back up for you all. Now, 48's Matthew King, he'll be bringing you updates on a Brownsboro arrest in tonight's newscast. If you all remember, yesterday, Singing River Trail Executive Director John Kavach was charged with 5 counts of possession of child pornography and 1 count of dissemination of child pornography. Matthew has been learning as much as he can today, and we'll have some updates for you all coming up tonight. And 48 Savannah Sapp has been in court today in DeKalb County learning more about Keith Sullivan, whose Stand Your Ground hearing was today. Sullivan was recently indicted for murder after shooting and killing his neighbor, Greg Baldwell, while on the front porch in the Oak Grove community. Now, Sullivan's defense claims that Bagwell was trespassing on his property and worried Bagwell could be armed. Savannah will have updates for you on this story coming up, so make sure you stick around for tonight's newscast. And now in Morgan County, a 29-year-old man is now out on bond after authorities say he was inappropriately contacting minors on social media. Now, according to the Morgan County Sheriff's Office, Austin Carpenter was arrested on June 20th for electronic solicitation of a child. Investigators went on to say that Carpenter used the social media app Snapchat to contact the 2 minors. They say the conversations were sexual in nature. He was released from Morgan County Jail on a $5,000 bond. And now in Huntsville, police are asking for your help identifying the suspect in these photos you see on screen here. On June 14th, police say a man carrying a Grubhub bag walked up onto a porch at a home on the southeast part of town and stole a package that contained an iPhone 15. If you know or have any information about this suspect, Huntsville police are asking you to contact them. And now circling back to Florence, fire crews battled a fire at Dick Howell's barbecue early this morning. The fire broke out around 8 a.m. in the restaurant on North Pine Street. Crews say they found heavy fire at the back of the building, but fortunately, it was quickly taken out. No injuries were reported, and the owner is hoping it will be back open by Friday. Now, it is still unclear what caused this fire. And now I think it is time we talk about the weather. If you were outside for even a second today, you already know it was extremely hot out there. This unusually hot and dry weather for the month of June here in the Tennessee Valley has been affecting local farmers. Yesterday, we spoke with Limestone County farmer Brady Peak with Peak Family Farms. And here's what he had to say about the state of the farm so far this year. Let's listen.
As of today, we're 2 weeks without any measurable rainfall and probably have been over 90 degrees for those 2 weeks. And our corn is to the critical point of it. It's to the point in its life cycle to where it needs a lot of water and really don't need to be much above 90 degrees.
Well, I don't know about you, but I am certainly rooting for a little rain as we move closer to the weekend. But make sure you stick around for tonight's latest forecast from 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis. Now, in case you missed it, let's talk about insulin for a second. Recently, 48 Savannah Sapp covered a story about the difficulties some counties in the state of Alabama have getting their hands on the much-needed medicine. Let's take a listen.
Alabama has the third most insulin deserts out of all 50 states, according to a Senate report. Insulin deserts are counties with both high rates of uninsured patients and prevalence of diabetes. Most North Alabama counties are considered insulin deserts, including Marshall County. But one local group is working to change that. Sharon Buck is the coordinator of Senior RX, an assistance program to help people with disabilities or anyone over the age of 55 get medicines like Ozempic, Eliquis, and some heart medications.
If they know about us, then we can help them get their foot in the door with the pharmaceutical company, as well as other resources that we have to try to get those medicines.
And she's on a mission to raise awareness about her program and others like it. She hopes these programs will lift counties out of their insulin desert status.
When I started, I probably had maybe 200-300 or so that I look over now. I've probably got closer to 450-500 patients that I deal with on a daily, monthly basis.
And no matter the number, she says she'll keep on providing support and helping those in need.
I've had them to come in and say that, they would have to decide between eating, paying their bills, or taking their medication. And that is so, I feel like so unfair, especially for the seniors. They've worked hard and they're at a time in their life when they shouldn't have to worry about things like that.
Alabama.
Well, thank you, Savannah. And another story, in case you missed it. The Loretta Spencer Sports Complex at John Hunt Park just opened last month, and now they are planning to host a lacrosse tournament. The Gulf South Conference Women's Lacrosse Tournament is coming to the newly opened complex beginning next year until 2027. Now, 48 Sarah Grace Kennedy recently spoke with Mark Russell. He is the executive director of the Huntsville Sports Commission on what he had to say about the sport of lacrosse here in the Huntsville community. Let's listen.
Well, lacrosse is fairly new to our community, so we'll be showing them the game. We have a great start of a lacrosse community, and we're trying to grow it. We want more people exposed to high-level lacrosse, and this will do it.
Very cool. And now in Athens, the hope of one day having a zoo here in North Alabama has hit another bump in the road. Leaders of the North Alabama Zoological Society recently announced a proposal to fund a zoo. Now, the proposal suggested a 3% monthly utility tax for Athens utility customers to help pay for the new zoo. However, after a vote by the leaders of the Limestone County Commission, the resolution was rejected. The commission claimed that they wouldn't allow public tax money to help fund a privately owned zoo. But according to North Alabama Zoological Society Executive Director, his name is Ethan Woodruff, the zoo would be publicly funded rather than private. 48's Claudia Peppenhorst recently spoke with Woodruff, and he said he would like the public to vote on whether a zoo should come to North Alabama or not. Let's take a listen.
That's really our ultimate goal, is to get the leadership to enable that the residents and the citizens can vote on it. So that's why we're not going to stop, and because we see that there is a lot of interest and a lot of support even with a tax. Our ultimate goal is to allow people to vote on it. And so once the vote comes out, we'll respect whatever they choose.
Very good information there. And well, if you're heading down to the beach for summer vacation this week, it's important to remember that it's Lightning Safety Awareness Week. Now, according to our friends down there at WALA Fox 10, the states of Florida as well as Alabama top the National Weather Service list of having the most people injured or killed by lightning strikes. Recently, Fox 10 went down to Gulf Shores to speak with beachgoers about their concerns this Lightning Safety Awareness Week. And let's take a listen.
I'd grab my family and staff and hit the road to hell with everything else.
Rodney Bowling brought his family and restaurant employees all the way from eastern Kentucky for a beach vacation. But he's seen what lightning can do and said he'd clear out quickly if lightning threatened the beach.
We've had lightning strike trees and they fall in our yard or across our road, catch on fire. It's dangerous.
The only thing to do is just hurry up and get your stuff packed up and try to get out of there as fast as you can.
Public safety officials say it's important to head to your car or get inside a grounded building quickly. The wide open beach is one of the last places you'd want to be when a storm moves in. It's wise for beachgoers to keep a sharp eye to the sky on days where storms are possible. Storm systems often move in from the northwest, taking folks by surprise. Since it may take several minutes to gather up your family and possessions before heading to the car, beach safety officials say it's even more important not to wait too long if you see the weather taking a turn for the worse.
People are here to have a good time, and the sun's shining, and they're watching the water, and they're not paying attention what's going on to the north of them. And a lot of times those storms build up in the north. Just the smaller storms, they'll build up, and then by the end of it, it's a huge storm that's heading this way, bringing a lot of wind and lightning.
A perfect example was this day in July of last year at Cotton Bayou in Orange Beach. The weather went downhill fast, and lifeguards had to work quickly to get folks off the beach. You can see beachgoers trying to gather up all their stuff and head towards the parking lot. In Gulf Shores, lifeguards will cruise the beaches and notify the public if lightning is detected inside of 20 miles. Once it moves within 10 miles, all lifeguards clear the towers until it's safe to return. Gulf Shores Beach Safety Chief Joe Ethan Phillips has seen firsthand how dangerous a storm on the beach can be.
The storm was still offshore, and they were sitting on a towel and a aluminum chair, and the lightning struck the water, came up and actually caught the chair and the beach towel on fire and striking the people as well. They both survived the incident, but you can see where when we got on scene that the towel was still burning.
Hal Sherrick, Fox 10 News.
Well, thank you so much for that. And now in sports, and let me pull up this box for you all. Two North America teams won a championship in their respective leagues last night. The NHL's Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup after defeating the Edmonton Oilers in Game 7. And of course, the NCAA's Tennessee Volunteers baseball team won the national championship after toppling the Texas A&M Aggies in Game 3 of the series. Now, congrats to both championship squads. Super well deserved. And now it is time we head into the stories you're just not going to want to miss. Of course, popular social media app Snapchat working to prevent sextortion, and the pros and cons of melatonin on your sleep routine, Finally, the latest on the hands-free ordinance meeting here in Huntsville that is going on tonight, and 48 will keep you updated on everything that goes down there. These are all stories you're just not going to want to miss. And now I believe it is time for our Facebook Fun segment. And if you are new to Before the Four, you don't know what Facebook Fun is. This is where we ask a question every single day on Facebook, and you guys respond to that said question. And I see we have a few comments here from Roberta Smart. She said, good evening. Good evening, Roberta. How are you doing? And thanks for this. Well, of course. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for commenting, Roberta. But it is time we talk about today's questions. And what did we ask on Facebook today? We asked, if you could have dinner with anyone living or dead, who would you choose? That is a tough one for me. I am honestly not sure who I would choose. I was like, the first person that came to mind was maybe, I don't know, Abraham Lincoln. I would ask him where he got that awesome hat, because that is a very awesome hat that Abraham Lincoln used to rock. But let's see what you guys all said. Joanne Joanne said, for me, it's Abraham Lincoln. We share so much in common. Joanne, we are on the exact same page. What do you share in common with Abe? Is it because he was honest? Do you sport an awesome looking hat? Do you have, I don't know, there's so many things about Abraham Lincoln that is truly iconic. But Joanne, thank you so much for commenting. Let's see what else you all said. Lynn Dean said Michael Jordan. Of course, Michael Jordan, only one of and probably the greatest basketball player of all time, no questions asked. An entrepreneur, super great businessman. The Jumpman brand is just an iconic, it's almost as famous as the Nike brand at this point, I swear. But Lynn Dean, thank you so much for commenting. I bet that would be an awesome dinner. Hannah Tapp said George Strait. Cannot argue with that. George Strait, legendary singer. Kay said living, preferably, which I see what you did there, Kay. Would you, if you could have dinner with anyone living or dead, who would you choose? Kay, very, very clever response there. And actually, a lot of you who are watching or not watching right now responded with living. And I just thought that was hilarious. But Kay, thank you for commenting. Whoever commented on this post, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. And you never know, you might comment and you wind up on Before the Four. But anyway, that is our comments today. And we are running a little bit short on time. But everyone who's watching right now, I want to thank you so much for spending a little bit of your Tuesday afternoon with me. Of course, if you haven't done so already, make sure you download the 48 digital app, turn on those push notifications, get the breaking news delivered directly to you. You're not going to want to miss it. And the same goes for the 48 First Alert weather app. And pretty soon we will be launching a 48 Sports app. So all you sports fans out there, just stay tuned for that. That should be some exciting stuff. But that is just about all the time. I hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday afternoon. Do something fun, enjoy it. Enjoy tonight's evening newscast, whether it's the 4, the 5, the 6, or the late show, the 10 o'clock. It's a little bit past my bedtime, but if you like to watch the 10 o'clock show, more power to you. But with that, that is just about all the time I have. But of course, I want to thank you for watching. You all have a great night.